Hey there, welcome back to Propresenter Training. I'm so glad that you've taken the time to invest in our church and to learn more about the computer graphics position. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what it looks like to drag the Multisite Propresenter package in, and how you set it up and how you get things going. And this is basically kind of the routine process of what it'll look like on a Sunday morning. Either whether it be you or your campus producer doing this process. Most of the time campus producers are going to have a volunteer that does that, and so that could potentially be you. And yeah, so I'd love to show you how. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. So in Propresenter, it should look like nothing is here yet. So obviously this is a previous weekend that we're looking at here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to grab Finder, and in Finder we're going to go to Faith Promise Dropbox right here, Campus Media, Weekend Content, and then whichever the weekend is. So for our demonstration purposes, we're going to go to the February 5th weekend, and we'll click the Propresenter folder, and then there is the Multisite folder right here. These two things are irrelevant, so I'll just move that to the trash. But so this Multisite folder right here is what you're going to want to use. So you will simply do this. You'll double click, and then whatever library that your campus producer has delegated or has designated as the library to put imported stuff in. So for me, for our demonstration purposes, I've got one that's specifically labeled imported stuff. For you, that might be different, but just make sure the correct one is selected. You'll click OK, and then it'll pop up with this little dialog window. You want to first hit apply to all, and then click new version. So new version will generate brand new songs and everything so that the arrangements are correct. The global team, we spend a lot of time prior to Sunday mornings making sure that everything that is in here is accurate and correct. So we go through and we make sure all the lyrical arrangements are correct, we make sure all the videos are in there, we make sure all the hosting notes, etc. And so you shouldn't have to worry about, in theory, you shouldn't have to worry about anything being off or not correct. And so yeah, so once you double click that, you click new version, it creates all these new versions, and then you see the new playlist right here. So it generated this new playlist. But like we talked about in the previous video, you want to make sure that this playlist is at the top of your playlist list. So you'll just drag this up just like that. And then from there, you are good to go with stuff that happens over here. Now, to set up the Multisite Propresenter package, like we talked about previously, you will have a whole bunch of macros that are set up on your Propresenter machine at your Multisite campus. Sorry. Already over here, and these macros you will drag onto specific areas. So for instance, this is a video, so we will drag the media macro right onto that just like that. Same thing goes for countdown. So what these macros do is they automatically apply a series of settings for specific to what type of content you're displaying. So you don't have to worry about audience looks or stage displays, etc. It does it all for you, which is great. So we drag the media macro onto our two videos here. Now this is technically right here, this loop is technically a piece of media. However, we're going to drag the worship macro to it. The worship macro makes sure that lyrics display while lyrics still display while the background displays behind it. So for all of these songs, we will drag the worship macro onto each first look there. However, just as an example, if we did have a lyric video, so you won't do this, but let me go ahead and remove this macro real quick. And let's say that this is a lyric video. If that's the case, we would put the lyric video macro on there. And what that would do is it would effectively not display the lyrics to the audience, but it would display the lyric video instead, and the vocalists would still be able to see the lyrics on confidence monitors. So if this were a lyric video, we would drag the lyric video macro there. But because this is a regular worship look, we'll drag the worship macro on there just like that. And then these aren't lyric videos either, so we drag the worship macro. And then we have welcome right here. So we will drag the hosting macro on. Go ahead and clear all this right here. The hosting macro effectively displays the media action just like that, but it doesn't display the text, the words, the slides. However, your campus pastor or whoever is communicating on stage will still be able to see those notes so that they have the visual recognition of what they need to be talking about, but the audience will only see the media that's displayed. Now, we're going to talk about something pretty important here. Unfortunately, as a global team, we're not able to export all of your communication cards specific to each campus because they are a specific graphic. So for that, we'll go to Finder, again, Dropbox, Campus Media, Weekend Content, whatever the weekend is. And then you'll go to Hosting Graphics, and in there, you'll be greeted with communication cards. So let's say that this is the Anderson campus. We will drag the Anderson communication card just right on there, like that. And there you go. Now the communication card is also in there, and this is how it will display to the audience with no text on it once you put that hosting macro on the first slide. That's something to note. You don't need to put the macro on every slide. You just need to put it on the first slide of whatever presentation is open. However, you have to make sure that you click that slide so that the macro's actions will initiate. So, moving on, we have the next steps video. So we will drag the media macro onto that. And then we've got more hosting right here. So this weekend we had 2 sections of hosting with a video in between. So we'll drag that hosting macro right back on there. That one's good. So then now we have the bumper video. We'll drag media on there. 99% of the time, the bumper video is going to come from Pell via Resi. So you don't need to worry about the bumper video. You don't need to worry about firing that. However, we put it in there as a just in case. So make sure you put the macro there. This is media. So you will click, so you'll put the media macro on there. And then for this song, As You Find Me, this is a regular worship, not a lyric video, so we drag the worship macro. And then finally, we go to gospel. In gospel here, you'll drag the hosting macro as well. And again, that'll display, so basically it displays this graphic without the text over it. Of course, I don't have the macros set up here specifically because I'm not on a campus computer that has those outputs, but that is what it will do at your campus. Then generosity will drag the hosting macro as well, and then dismissal will also drag that hosting macro. So at this point, the Multisite Propresenter package is imported and is ready to go for you guys to use. In a later video, we'll talk about automations and what that looks like in terms of setting up the connection between Ableton and Propresenter. But for the sake of this video, that's how you set up the Multisite Propresenter package. It's pretty straightforward, easy for you to use. And that is our entire goal with this, is to make sure that Sunday mornings go smooth, are simple, are quick and easy for you. And so, of course, if you need support on a Sunday morning, your campus producer is always available, and then the global production team is here to help you. We are here to champion you, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at all. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you start serving. Thanks.